Colin hates that noise. I'm gonna add Colin here, add a guest to be in your live video. Search Colin Big Bird Offie. Hello. There he is.
First of all, I love that noise. Oh wait, what noise are we talking about? I missed it. Why are you upside down? I may need to turn mine over. Hey,
Yes.
there we go.
There we go.
Like one of these things is not like the other.
No, my phone folds the other way now.
Oh, you and your fucking double phone.
Double phone.
What?
So.
Oh my God. This reminds me. I'm sitting here and I'm noticing my my calendar with the goats and trees hasn't been changed over to March. I'm 20 days behind. This is going to be a problem. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
Good. You look crisp and clean in that new double phone you got there.
Thank you very much. I also have a headband on. I don't know if you can see that. I'm a headband guy.
Look. Now you're a headband guy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is news to me. I don't know what this quite means, but
it's just today that I just got it. I'm trying to grow my hair out on top. I'm trying to do like a Cole Sprouse thing from Riverdale, like a Jughead Jones. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't, but I'm about to Google it and find out.
Yeah, Google Jughead Jones. I'm trying to get these comments back. I guess they should be there. So I'm trying to get the comments to go away, but I should.
All right,
yeah,
let's see.
Jughead
Jones.
And you'll see it's like, very alternative, almost like emo-y, very, very emotional. Just
Jughead.
Like pushed to the side. Too many emotions.
Oh, look at that.
Yes.
So brooding and very emo-like.
Brooding. Yes, thank you. Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
So that's what I'm going for. So I'm growing my hair out on top. So right now, if I'm not wearing a hat, something's got to be done because it's starting to it'll touch, just tickle my face, and I can't. I'm just constantly doing this. So.
Yeah, I can't. It starts to get annoying, man. All the little touches on the face.
The big thing is going to be when I try to wear this to work for the first time. That's going to be a big, all the boys are going to be like, "Oh, Don, you're wearing a headband now." Type of guy. It's going to be a whole deal for at least a week. So.
Oh yeah. Well, the shade will be at least 25% left without A-Rod being there.
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
We're drinking Bucha tonight, boys.
There you go.
Some clear mind.
Got my coffee. My dumb snap.
I love it. So I was going to say...
growing my mustache stuff back out.
That's good. Looking good. Got the little fuzzy down there. I like it.
Nothing worse than a stray mustache hair. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for joining us. Yeah. No, we're out here. I had my own hair in my coffee before we started this, which is a rarity that it's not a dog or something else. It was one of my own hairs just from trying to decide what I was going to do.
Nice own goal.
Yes. Yeah. So double phone. What did you do today, buddy? That's what I did today. I have a story about that, but tell me first what you did today.
What I did today, let's preface this by my day started about midnight because I was up last night. I stayed up for the entirety of Carolina's stream, which didn't get over until about 3 or so.
With you guys, what did you play last night? For anybody here joining us, obviously thank you everyone for joining us. Anybody who's here doesn't know, Colin's wife Carolina is a Twitch streamer, just 900 followers or subscribers. There's a difference between the two on Twitch, right?
Yes, yeah. Right now she's at pushing I think 970 followers now, almost to 1,000.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Her go-to, he's a mod, a moderator and stuff for her channel and stuff like that. But it's kind of like her number one. I guess you go almost like a business partner in a way, right? He sent her the analytics for her stream the other day, and it's this curve. Let's see if I can figure this out. That just exponentially now is growing higher and higher and higher. It's pretty fantastic. Now she has a good one yesterday. She was playing Call of Duty, the Warzone.
Nice.
And Yeah, it was just like
In it.
4 or 5 hours of nonstop chaos. She was
Yeah.
on fire last night.
I haven't played like a new Call of Duty in a really long time. You know, I
I
was
haven't.
really like
Uh,
Rainbow Six Siege for a while. Um, and the last couple times I played that, I've been so terrible at it. I've just got my ass beat so bad that I can barely even enjoy playing it.
yeah, it's a tough one now, man. That people have been grinding on that game for so long. They're straight up professionals out there.
Yeah, and if your internet's not up to snuff, you're gonna get just
Yeah.
blown.
Yep.
So, and I know my internet's not terrible, but we live like obviously like a little bit in the woods, out of the way, so we don't have
Oh
like
yeah.
internet and keyboard. So
That's too funny. But anyways, yeah, I was doing that last night, and then obviously I had to recover this morning because that's you stay up that late. That's you got to catch up on the sleep.
as I'm saying,
But then I laid low all morning. I've been playing this game on computer called Terraria. You ever heard of that?
or Terraria.
Yeah, it's kind of like a 2D side scroller, kind of like Minecraft esque,
Okay,
except it kicks the shit out of Minecraft in my opinion. There's so much to do. There's so many layers to this game. It's not even
and
funny.
this is also a PC game.
Yeah, but I think it's pretty much on all the different consoles and stuff too. You can play it. But put some time into that, and then I watched first 3 quarters of the Fahrenheit 451 with Michael B. Jordan
Yeah,
because I hadn't
I
seen
watched
that since the first time. It's actually better the second time around.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty solid. It's a nice contextual take on Ray Bradbury's classic.
I know
You know,
you're big into that book, so
it's yeah that book, and then all the George Orwell, Animal Farm, 1984 stuff. I mean, it's too real to not be rereading those and
yes,
going through those these days. And they're so good.
I
It's hard to believe they were written when they were written.
I read 1984 within the last year, um,
Yeah,
during 2020, and it was like I hate this. I hate
I
it
hate
all.
it. I hate it. No, it's too real. It's
Have
too
you
real.
played Have you played Battlefield 4? I haven't played Battlefield 4, but I played Battlefield 1. I believe is what it's called, the World War One Battlefield. Uh,
Yeah, that was good.
yes, yeah, I played that one. I played the shit out of that game when it first came out. Um, Huge fan of that.
I played a little bit of the one that came after that. Battlefield 5 or something like that.
Yeah,
Back to World War II and stuff. Me and my brother Chad played that a good amount for a while until my TV broke. And then even after I got another TV, I just never jumped back into it.
yes.
But
Let's jump back to 1984 because we're skipping around in the comments, but 1984, and then I also listened to the audiobook of Animal Farm. Um, that one
it's a
hit
good one.
that one hit harder for me in 2020 than
Yes.
1984 did. Like, there's obvious ties in 1984, but I would say that one will speak more to me now than it did when I read it in during 2020. Just as far as people being pulled off of the internet, everything with Parler,
Uh-huh.
and that, like, that's
The
1984
line
to me now.
that I, yeah,
During the riots and the policing and all of that stuff, it was Animal Farm. You know what I'm saying? When I was like, this is insanity.
yes. The line I always remember from that one at this point is some animals are more equal than others.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's the pigs in Animal Farm. They're the ones, the
I
sneaky little
remember
pigs.
quote tweeting a couple of different articles during the riots and everything from Lori Lightfoot, when she went to get her haircuts, and then when she was also talking about like closing down her street that her house was on for the protests, and she's like, well, like, I have a right to safety and privacy. None of you do in your own homes and your own streets. Fuck you. But I have the right to close down my street. All these people go out there. Like, these are just the small ones. But yeah, there was the big police ones. Those were the crazy ones. That's like, you don't have a right to protect yourself. If you go out on your front lawn with a firearm, you're going to get hemmed up. We're going to take all your shit. But I'm going to close down my whole block so that nobody can even come to my house. That's crazy.
That's a thing. There hasn't really been any media follow through on I can't even remember their name now. I want to say it was like the McCluskeys or something like that. The people that came out
The
on their
clock.
lawn and stuff.
Yeah. The last I heard, was that when their firearms were taken, or however the police got them, however, I don't remember if they handed them over or if the police went and got them, but
Yeah.
the pistol that they got wasn't in working order, and like the firing gun or something or missing or fucked out of place, and the police had to fuck with it to make it fireable. And so there was this whole, deal of like when you got it, you couldn't like they couldn't even have used it, and it was it's horrible. When I was
horrible.
I have to tell you this now that we're talking about firearms, right? So I'll tell you the story, and it will end up making sense, especially, babe, because you said I didn't talk to the guy about the podcast. So this double phone. Yesterday, I went to go get the double phone. I called the store in the mall, and they were like, no, we don't have the double phone. So I called the store in the trails, and they were like, no, we don't have the double phone. So I called the store in Bremerton. The guy said, yes, we have the double phone. And I was like, cool, will you check just to be certain? He goes in the back. I hear him on the phone, and he's like, hey, what's the code to the back room? Goes back, and he's like, yeah, no, it's right here. So, I live like 30 minutes from the store, right? So I'm like, babe, I'm just going to go right now, and I'm going to go and scoop up this phone, and I'm just going to bring it home. Drive to the store. My kid was like, oh, yeah, there's like 2 other people here. He was like, let me do, like, the 2 other customers, he was like, let me do this and this. He's like, and then I'm going to get out of the safe, and then, like, it'll be good. So he goes back, and he's like, oh, it's in the part of the safe that takes like 10 minutes to open. So, like, in like 10 minutes. Okay.
What is this, a bank vault? What are you doing?
That's exactly what I thought. I'm like, okay. And the whole time when I first got there, he's like, oh, also, like we have this, like the G Fold, like the phone that folds out to a tablet, and then you can like close it up. And I was like, no, like
that's not what I want.
Double phone, yeah, I want like the 2-screen phone with the one that was like, so this one is like, that one like it drains the battery and blah blah blah. And like this other one's like made out of metal. And so I'm thinking like he's just trying to upsell me. Like he must get more money if he sells this other phone.
Like, bro, I've done so much research on it. I know what phone I want.
Yeah, I'm like, no, like this is the one that I want. So he's like, okay, yeah, no, that's fine. Like we just gotta wait for it. And so it just fucking goes by, and he comes out and he's like, yeah, no, we don't have it. I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, oh yeah, no, my manager just left and took it like to Silverdale and took it with him to Silverdale to the other store. It's like, well, that's really weird because like I called the store in Silverdale, you know what I'm saying? He was like, yeah, like I don't know. He was like, but like we have the second screen. He's like, so I can sell you that if you want to try and find the phone online. No, I don't want the second screen in the meantime until I find the phone. So I leave, right? And as I'm driving home, obviously super pissed that I just wasted like almost an hour for this whole thing. So I called the store Silverdale in the trails, or I called in the mall, and I was like, hey, what the fuck is going on? Because I called you guys to try and get this phone, and now it's like being taken here, and it's like, oh, that's not our store. You have to call the other one. So because apparently there's, and I know this from working at Sprint, but I just didn't realize these were differences. There's like actual AT&T stores and like authorized retailers, Yeah. So we're in the trails in Bremerton are connected, but not the one in the mall. And so I was like, okay, so I'll call the trails. So I called the trails, and I was like, hey, what the fuck? Like I called you guys, tried to get his phone and all this shit. And so I told the woman what happened. She's like, that's not true. And I was like, what do you mean that's not true? And she said, yeah, no, the manager was just here. She said, but he came and dropped off paperwork. He didn't bring a phone. It's like, okay, well, this kid straight told me like that he left with his phone and all that stuff. And so, and the woman knew this kid by name. Like she was like, oh, it's this kid. Like, I mean, I guess like, I don't know, So she calls the manager to the other store, and then he calls me, and he's like, listen, I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know why he would do that and why he would do it. I was like, why he would do what? I was like, are you telling me that he lied to me? And he was like, yes. Like, so, you're telling me that you have the phone at your store? And he was like, yeah, no, I have it right here. He said, I never left with it. He was like, it was at the store the whole time. I said, so you're telling me that the phone was in the store when this fucking kid told me he didn't have it, couldn't sell it to me, and that you had left the store with it? He's like, yeah. So, but you can't tell me why he would do this. He said, no, I have no idea why he would do that. He was like, I don't have nothing, I
get the context to what you told me in text earlier.
Yeah. I was like, okay, so I'm obviously bitching this dude, like, and I was like, telling him, like, I'm not mad at you. I was like, but I am fucking confounded that I drove to your stores and I just spent, I was like, it's an hour. It's like, it's not a huge amount of time. But it's an hour I could have been spending with my kid. You know what I'm saying? So I spent an hour out of my day to try and give you $1,000. And this kid, for some reason, for whatever ungodly reason that none of us can fucking figure out, decided that he didn't want me to have that phone that day. So he was like, yeah, like, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. And, I can't offer any discount on the phone because we're just an authorized retailer and we can't adjust phone prices and blah, blah. So he literally couldn't give me anything. But this is the only store in the area that has this phone. He's like, bro, I just want this phone, right? So I went there today and worked with the dude, the manager of the store. And he talked so much. And and he was a super nice guy, but also couldn't adjust anything, couldn't give me any credits, couldn't give me anything, which is neither here nor there, you know.
This
But
guy
then
didn't have a coke nail on his pinky, did he?
he had all coke nails, bro.
I feel like I know who this guy is.
He had all cocaine nails. It was horrible. If anybody doesn't know this, right? Colin may know this. I keep my nails nubs, dog. Every Monday, my nails are systematically cut. Every Monday at work to nubs. To see this man with a 1/4 inch of growth on every nail,
that's a lot of growth.
It was horrible. And so then he's asking me, like, why I have this phone, and like, what are the benefits, and blah, 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 and switch. And I was like, oh, well, like, I host this podcast, or blah, blah. And he's like, oh, that's cool. He's like, you know, what's it about? So I start telling him, like, politics and just sharing information. He's like, oh, that's cool. He's like, I like politics. I don't listen to podcasts much. He's like, but it's like people don't really like to talk to me about, you know, stuff like my opinions on the Second Amendment. And at this point, I'm just sitting on my phone, right? So I'm just like, oh, yeah, word. I'm not probing, because I'm obviously not gonna get into this conversation with this man.
Right.
Store, so I'm just like, oh, word. And I'm going, and he starts going on about, you know, mental health checks, and like everybody has this right, but like every 5 years you need to go through a mental health evaluation, and then if you have any type of big event that happens in your life, like you get divorced, or you have you get arrested for some type of violent crime, or some type of thing happens, you need to have another evaluation, and you need to have your firearms taken away until you have another evaluation that says that you're good to go. And then you can get them back, you know, at like a tiered level. And then you can have these rights back at full level. And then if anything else happens, you know, over the 5 years, if something else happens and they rule that you can't have them, you get them taken away again. I'm just listening to him just go and just thinking the whole time, like, you don't want to have this conversation with me, dog. Like,
no, you don't want to do
this. This isn't one.
Sounds like you're describing a privilege, not a right.
Yeah. So, and I see your brothers in here, so I'm sure Chad is just like, what the fuck? I'm like, it was horrible.
Shout out, Chad.
Yeah, it was. Thank you, everybody, for joining. It was horrible for me to listen to.
Shout out, Morgs. I see Morgs is in here. What's up?
Absolutely.
Long time no see.
Yeah,
just came from their abode.
Absolutely. Right. So it was pretty hilarious.
That's funny.
He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's a very nice gentleman. I will absolutely never go to that establishment ever again.
Can you say, in your history of buying phones, have you ever had like a good experience at a phone store? I have never once. Like, I'll go in and get something. If I go into, like, I'm going to get this phone, here it is, I might walk out with that phone.
Yeah.
But not after spending an hour there. For whatever reason, you can't get into a phone store and get out in less than an hour. It just doesn't exist.
And that's the thing, is like, this dude had the phone on his desk. I had all these conversations with him, and it still took me an hour and a half to get in the store and out for all of it. Yeah.
That's wild. But now you get your phone.
Yes, now I have my double phone. Yeah, so I have your text messages signal open on the other side, and then I have this open here. It's ultra rad. The double phone is so fucking sick. Yes. So just a producer said, completely disconnected from reality. One of the things that confused me about this man and his opinions on the Second Amendment in the very limited conversation I had with him is that he he told me, disclosed to me, it's not a secret, but he disclosed to me that he had like an 11-month-old child, which I personally found interesting because that's what got me into firearms. You know what I'm saying? Like, that got me down this whole road, is having a family, like not even just having a wife, but having a son, having a larger family. That's what owed me to this whole thing. So for him to be like down this same road and to be on a completely separate idea path, it did make me interested in how he got to that idea, because he talked for almost 5 minutes about a very elaborate idea and plan about how he felt like the Second Amendment needed to be reformed and everything. So he's obviously done quite a bit of thinking about it. I don't think that it's a very well informed plan, because I think that it's based on a false premise. Obviously, the idea that it's a privilege and not a right. But it was interesting that he had such a formulated idea, and not just like, people don't need AR-15s. You know what I'm saying? It was more formulated than when you and I first started this podcast. I was just like, people don't fucking need that. And this guy at least was like, here's my plan of like how we're I still think he's wrong, but at least he had it's more than most
Seems like
people
he's
have
thought it through a little bit.
That's what I'm saying. It's more than what most people have on really any issue is like, at least like, this is how I think it should be solved. So I don't think he's right. I don't think that's the way, but at least he had been thinking about it, So
That's
I'd
good.
be interested to hear how he got to that,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I find that it's really rewarding to have conversations with people that will like completely disagree with something like the Second Amendment.
Yeah.
But then to listen to them explain their thought process about how they arrived to the point that they do. And even then, like at the end of the day, we're going to disagree. But if I feel like you've put enough thought into your ideas, I might try to offer some additional resources that might help contextualize what the difference between a right and a privilege is.
Yeah.
Just to help flush out your foundation, But at the end of the day, like, it is nice to run into people like that at least seem to put thoughts behind, a well-formulated, argument, essentially.
Yes.
Yeah, that is pretty nice.
I watched, speaking of like source material to like better explain, your rights and stuff. I watched a video this morning from Benjamin A. Boyce, that dude that did the Evergreen documentary. That was an interview with a lawyer in Canada that was involved in the Wax My Balls case. Do you remember?
Yeah.
So that trans person ended up trying to sue like a bunch of different people, and this lawyer and his firm defended like 4 or 5 of those people. And so he was talking about some of the faults in the Canadian judicial system and the ways that they were focused incorrectly on like individual liberties as opposed to like equality or like equity. And it was very, very interesting to hear just a lawyer from another country be like, no, like, we don't agree with this, but this is the law system that we have to practice in. Like, we're all very classical liberal here. Like, and this obviously doesn't fall within this ideology, and it's very twisted, and it was very, very interesting. So I would highly recommend that to anybody. Benjamin A. Boyce, all of the videos that I've seen from him have been absolutely fantastic. I finished up that Evergreen documentary in like 3 days. It was
wow.
It was amazing.
How long are the episodes again? Because
like
there's a gang of episodes, but they're pretty short,
like
right?
3 episodes, but I think the longest one, they're like between 10 and 25 minutes. So they're not super long.
I did see on his Twitter this, I think it was a few days ago, he was asking JBP if he'd want to come on and promote the book. So I'm excited for that one. I'll watch that for sure.
I also saw JBP asking Elon Musk to come on his podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested in that. Well,
I really want to see that. That'd be really interesting because the two of them
JBP
communicate on very different wavelengths.
Yeah.
That would be a really interesting conversation, I think.
Hopefully somebody is like, I don't know, hopefully one of the nurses that Joe Rogan has hired to do the COVID tests is also taking DNA from all these people. Not all of them, but like Elon Musk, Jordan Peterson, so that when all this is over, we can just try and make some type of chimera person and see what comes out.
All right. Off the top of your head, top 4 people you want to see chimeraed in a clone. Go.
Elon Musk and JVP are going to be 2 of those people.
That's 2.
I'm going to go ahead and say that... Who's going to come after that? Matt Taibbi is going to be one of those people. Okay. You know what I'm talking about? Reporter, yeah.
Yep. And Glenn Greenwald.
So either Matt Taibbi or Glenn Greenwald. I thought about Glenn Greenwald first, but fuck it, Glenn Greenwald too. Those are my 4.
I like it. Yeah. I like it.
I want 2 reporters, my favorite psychologist, and some just wicked genius.
There you go.
That's what I want put into one person. So, and I'm not sure what we're gonna get out of them, but it's gonna be incredible, whatever it is.
I think we need to, I would throw in a Joe Rogan, because I would take the JVP Elon Musk blend, but I'd throw a little Rogan in there. That way you get a nice little mix of meathead as well.
Yeah.
And then just to shake it up, I feel like I'd want to throw, who could counterbalance some of this stuff? like a Kamala Harris, just to spice it up and see what happens.
Oh my God.
That way, you just like the Biden
That
administration, you
is
could
the
smoke
next
a little
dictator
weed,
of
and
the
then
globe.
she could send you to jail afterwards.
That is the next dictator of the globe right there. The world emperor.
You mean
That
next president of the global
president of
nation? Yeah, the global nation will be Kamala Harris.
the global union.
There you go. There you go. That way we can join the Galactic Federation that
Exactly.
one
What's it
Israeli
called?
professor was talking about.
What's it called in Hunger Games?
What?
Their area. They
Oh,
have called.
Oh yeah, there's a name for that, like
Yeah.
their country or whatever.
Right.
I'm just gonna Google
All I
nation.
can think of is Pangea. That's obviously not it. But
Say nation Hunger Games. Oh, it's telling me the United States. No, I'm just kidding. Is it Panem? Panem, Panem.
that was good. You had me for a second. I was like, oh my God, that's the United States. Something is that just like a dystopian United States?
Right?
That's really fun.
No, that was just our state, but we're done with the Hunger Games. No, we covered that already.
So I picked up Trenton yesterday from the airport, right?
Yeah, how is this guy?
Trenton's doing great. We ended up going out to Silver City. It was a whole thing. I haven't been out to eat in like forever. Since the last
Is it
time
the first restaurant you've been to?
since everything reopened again.
Nice.
It's just absolutely fantastic. Yeah, so I went and picked him up, and on the way home, he was asking me about everything reopened, and like where we're at. So I was explaining to him, and I was like, "Oh yeah, it was like the Hunger Games for a while," and he was like, "Wait, what?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, they broke us up into districts." I was like, "We were like 2 weeks away from having to pick our tributes." I was like, "It was pretty dark." So, but it's okay. We'll go back to counties now. So I don't think we have to do that anymore.
Right. That's good. Yeah. Where was he at again? He was like in Japan?
No, he was in San Diego this time. He was in Japan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's San Diego would be an interesting spot to be at for 9 months. I mean,
well,
good weather, 24/7.
Yeah, and he said because it was so far south, people were not as crazy about masking as it was.
I hear that. It's diametrically opposed to LA.
Yeah.
LA.
Yeah. LA.
LA. Those guys down in LA.
I bought a neck gaiter, so I've been doing the gaiter instead of anything else. And I thought of you today because I was running errands, and so I just had it around my neck, and I was like, bro, you lose a lot of heat in the neck. Like
you do. This time of year, man, it comes in clutch in a lot of ways.
Lose a lot of heat in the neck, Doug.
Yep. I'm going to do an experiment once in 2023 or whenever the mask mandate goes away. I'm going to see how long I could sport it afterwards. Just because of how comfortable it is. I feel naked now without it on. I took it off, even when I went over to the compound a little while ago. I just wear it. I always bring it with me whenever I leave the house, just in case. I'm trying to be a nice guy. Somebody wants me to wear a mask, and it's so nice to have that extra little layer of insulation, especially this time of year. We're hanging out on the patio. We got the propane fire going. It's really nice. As soon as the sun goes down, there's that little edge of chill comes in there, and it was real nice to have that neck gaiter on.
The one
I'm surprised I'm not wearing a neck gaiter right now.
Where's that? Throw it on right now.
Actually, I have it right here.
Is fleece lined too.
Oh, see, that's taking a little too far. That's too hot, bro.
It was like
this is the one I was sporting today.
I was at Sportsman's, and I was trying to be honest,
I'll headband up with you tonight.
It was the day that I was going to go and kick it with Andy Sound, and I was like, I don't know if he's going to want to make content or something like that. So I was like, I really need a balaclava before I go over there. And so I was like at Sportsman's, and I was just like, little balaclava, like where can I find one of these? And I found these neck gaiters that, on the back, it was like, you can wear this fucking 30 different ways. And one of them was a balaclava. So I was like, oh, well, this works. So I picked up 2 of those. And since then, I bought a ski mask. I bought another.
You can't call it a ski mask, bro, right? You can't be a 2A guy and call it a ski mask.
Well,
now you're on a list.
It's just one hole.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not, I don't know if that's still a ski mask. It's Carhartt.
A solo hole.
Made for, I don't know.
Made for working.
But yeah, so it's a real nice one. But you could still, cover up your face and like play a Russian person in a content video if you needed to. So I'm just trying to be prepared for anything at any time.
Just in case you got to play a Russian guy.
Whatever. I don't know.
You're my go-to Cuban stand-in.
Andy said, well, he's got that whole like the operational group, Instagram that he's doing and making content and shit like that. So I would obviously fuck with doing something like that with him. And if he was like, I need you to fucking, I don't know.
I didn't really realize there was like a whole group going on there.
Okay, yeah. So he has an Instagram page that I believe is PSO Operational Group, and there's a whole slew of these different various groups, like Instagram pages that are like content pages. That's like
little group pages.
Just dope firearm shit. People just dressing up and like LARPing and shit essentially, and just doing cool shit, I don't know. It's just, if you're into guns and like training and shit, they're fun to look at. They're cool, just dudes in fucking nods and in kits and everything, walking around here in rooms and shit. I don't know, it's cool to look at, So So Andy Sound is doing that type of thing. So like I'm saying, I'm like, well, fucking just get some different shit, and you know what I'm saying? If he's ever so
it's like dressing up your Rainbow Six character, except for real life.
Exactly. So we're gonna fucking, I'm gonna invite him out the next time that we go shooting and stuff like that. So I'm trying to, started getting our garage cleaned out again, and I'm thinking that I could set up some type of CQB thing like he had, kind of in the alley and like partially in the garage, I think, because even just with, I know we've talked about it a little bit, but with crazy as ammo prices are and stuff, like training with dry fire and airsoft has become such a valuable skill that to have something outside to be able to do that with, I think. Great.
I saw somebody on one of my the hunting groups that I'm a part of on the Facebooks. I just saw this little post like, what is going on at Sportsman's this morning? I saw a line wrapped around the store before it was even open. I was like, bro, where have you been for the last year? That's people trying to buy ammo. That's exactly what's going on.
Trying.
Oh, dog.
Yeah. Man. Speaking of which, dry fire course and stuff still open. Anybody who wants to open their home up to me and a couple of my buddies to run through our kids with guns, just let me know. You can stand.
Preferably no small children about, please.
Preferably no small children. That would be.
We don't want to give everybody nightmares.
We'll leave no holes in your home. Don't worry about that. We will not shoot any holes in your house.
Not going to say your neighbors aren't going to call the cops on you because everybody's so terrified, but
you should definitely tell them to get some people over to do some shit at your house because they'll call the cops.
But all right, let's get it.
I started as because we go on walks every day, me and Jordan, the baby and the dog, and so ever since she ate those fucking raisins, bro, we've been taking her for walks every day. She's doing much better.
Gotta get that attention out of her.
Exactly. Yeah. So I started walking in my kit, in my carrier, just to add some more weight and get more used to it. And I have like the placard on there with the mags and everything. So I was like wearing jackets over it, but I'm like, it's about to start getting really hot and I'm not going to be wanting to wear jackets anymore. So I just took the placard off the front and it's definitely much lighter. Like I think those magazines are closer to 2 pounds than 1 pound. It still does the trick, and I just put it over a sweatshirt, without the placard on there, just to get the neighbors used to the image of us walking around. And I definitely got some side eyes and some weird glances from people in their yard.
Especially with the kid. If you're taking Dax with you on a walk or something like that, everyone's like, I feel like it should be threatening, but there's a small child. I don't know what's going on here.
Walking the dog, Jordan's pushing a stroller. We're just walking around, like hanging out. So
don't worry, I am the neighborhood protection. Don't worry,
so
you're safe. Get inside your homes.
I'm going to do that for a couple of weeks, and then I'm going to put the placard back on there, and I'm just going to be like, listen, guys, this is just where we're at. Like, this is what we're doing here. Like this, I would really, if I felt like the cops wouldn't absolutely be called, I would love to walk around with like all you guys in full kit, you know what I'm saying, with rifle and everything. But I used to run my carrier slick around Central Valley when I lived around that area. A lot of weird looks. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And I live in Keyport, you know what I'm saying? So it's a
small little community,
Small community. But it's so they'll get used to it. They'll figure it
They'll
out.
get used to it.
Yeah. I'm gonna start running. I have that VTAC barricade, that we took out last time. I'm gonna start doing some stuff with that now that it's starting to get nicer outside. Just staying in the garage and just run the.
Yeah, I saw a guy on some Instagram page the other day that had essentially something like yours, except some of the cuts went all the way down to the ground, and then he had like some triangle cuts like at ground level that he was getting to. I was like, bro, that is next level. That's tough. It was.
And when the tweaks don't mess with you. Straight up.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
that's a good point. Good point.
This was just the first one that I built, and so I had seen pictures of them before, but I didn't look at a design before I made it, So I just kind of made what I had in my head, and then I've seen way more of them since then. And so now I've seen another one. I have more plywood in my garage, so I think that I'm going to probably cook up another one.
There you go.
This one, the sheet of plywood that I used this time was also only like a half of one and had a weird piece off of it, so I didn't have a full sheet I was working with. Or else I was going to cut different steps in it like it usually has. And then so, because you can put like 5 or 6 different levels in it, of just a spot like that high. And then you can cut in it and then do the ones on the ground. And that's kind of what I'm going to go for on the next one. So
that's pretty dope.
I'm excited.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Yeah, I'm so proud of you, man. You have blossomed. I love it. What is that term? It's like the master has become the apprentice. I now rely on you for all of my training and all my info.
Yeah.
All I had to do was show you where the door was, and you walked right through it.
Just had to show me, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. Now I'm getting ready to build that 10.5.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Got one on my profile. If you want to reference, there you go. Yep. Like I said, I think I'm gonna work on the next one here in the next couple of weeks. I think I'll probably try and finish it before we go shooting the next time, so I can take the both out there. So.
Well, and I told Jake that 2 weeks. So it sounds like, and he sounded like he was held down. So it sounds like we're putting that on our goats and trees calendars.
Deal. Goats and trees. Yeah, we'll probably invite Trenton's dad. Every time we go shooting and put up shit, Trenton's dad hit me up. It's like, bro, hit me up. Like, I want to go shooting with you guys. That's this month?
That's March. I like it. This
all.
one you can actually tell there's a tree involved.
Yes, I like it.
Why do goats like trees, bro? You got these little hooves.
It's a height thing. Have you ever seen when people have like goats as pets? Sometimes they'll take almost like telephone poles and bury them in the ground at different heights, and the goats will compete to be on the highest pole.
I believe it. I totally believe it. Wifey's bringing me something in a bowl. There's food. Oh, it's Rabs. Oh my gosh. I just got a food delivery. I am so excited. That is killer. Thank you, love. Look at that. Yeah, she's got to get that pre-game fuel in.
She's streaming again tonight?
Oh, hard, yeah. Yeah, tonight is cosplay night, so she'll be playing. Oh, yeah, her handle. Let me just pull it up. That way I actually have it.
So everyone can go and...
Yeah.
Twitch! You don't the high ground. That's okay.
Twitch handle. Lexicao. Lexicao.
There you go.
Tonight she is Skyrim night, so she's going to get her elf cosplay on and go full board tonight. It's always hilarious. She is so entertaining.
She's doing the cosplay is getting super legit too. It's very
next level.
Jordan.
Yeah, I told her, I was like, it's one of those skills that I don't think she knew she had until she tried it the first time, and all of a sudden it was like, where did this come from? This is amazing. She's got them deep skills.
She looks good.
Heck yeah. I mean, I'm not going to complain. Oh.
So do you want to talk about a serious topic, Colin?
What's that?
So do you want to talk about our one serious topic? Do you want to get into it?
Yeah, a little weird considering all the two-way talk we just had. But
we don't have to save it for next week.
Maybe we should save it for next week, so we can preview it for next week. We're going to talk about the shootings that went down in Georgia, the spa shootings. on Tuesday, I believe, or it was Monday. But yeah, we're gonna get into that because I think we both agree that the conversation being had around it is, we'll just say at best disingenuous, if
much
not
larger,
misdirected.
and much larger than the one being had or presented in the media.
Yes, and much more important, I would argue too.
Yes,
because there's real things that there's real discussions that need to be had around something like that happened.
yeah,
And in pigeonholing it into a single issue is not, it's doing the lesson to be learned there a massive disservice.
yeah.
Because there is a massive lesson to be learned in something like this, and at least for us, to get past the tragedy and to look what actually happened, to get into the details of what happened, and then talk about why and that kind of stuff, which is something that we don't usually get to actually get down to why in a lot of cases. There's always a big mystery in a lot of mass shootings, because usually the shooters end up killing themselves at the end of it. And that was not the case in this one. This is a very different case. Out of all the mass shootings that have taken place over the last 4 or 5 years, this one kind of stands out for a lot of reasons, I think. And it's important to look at that and break it down and examine. So I think to do it full justice, maybe we should save it for the next show. The full bore show, baby.
Yeah.
What else was I going to say? Oh, I did want to talk about this then.
Yes.
Did you see the articles that came out this week about the number of people in the Biden administration that are getting fired for marijuana use, even though they live in states where it's legal?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, then we'll dig up some more. I'll dig up some more facts on it. But a number of people were fired or laid off or whatever you have. They were asked to leave because they popped positive on a weed test.
They're in the Biden administration right now?
Yes, right now. The people that are in their administration right now.
Really?
Which, because a lot of people forget that cannabis is still federally illegal.
Right, but it's legal
yes, but
in some capacities in DC. Like, you can't buy it. I don't watch a fucking when Vice was still legitimate. You know what I'm saying?
When they were still legit.
When they were still legitimate, right when they first got sold, they were still kind of okay. And they had all those different weed shows. And one of them was about just different weed laws in all the different states. And in DC, like, you couldn't sell it, but you could, like, give it to somebody as a gift. But you could only give them, like, so much, like an ounce and a half or something like that. It had to be in
It's like they removed
really weird.
The illegality of possession at that point. But you still can't buy and sell and do all that stuff. You can't grow. But if you just happen to have some on you magically, it just appeared out of thin air, then you're fine.
Yeah.
A lot of states are like that, which is weird. But if you go work down at the shipyard, even though it's legal in this state, you're still working for the federal government, and they require you to piss clean. And it's the same thing. If you're going to work in the White House, you got to follow the rules. It is still federally illegal until they change it. The commander, cop in chief, or whatever they were calling her, you can't be there. That's just not how that works.
What do you think the likely? I'm not even sure what the process is of how they would go about it. Like, I would have to look into it. So at this point, I would just be speculating as far as, like, reclassifying cannabis. You know what I'm saying? I mean, is that just done? Is that like I wonder. I don't expect you to have this answer, but is it something as so simple as can just be an order done by the president? Because I would imagine
it has to be.
Yeah,
it has to be. I would imagine, because I believe, we'd have to look on it. So this is all speculation, but I would say that we'd have to check and see if it's an actual legislative law that was passed, during like the war on drugs era or something like that, which it might be. Or if it's just a Schedule 1 controlled substance, hence it's illegal because it meets, because it's classified as a Schedule 1 controlled substance. There's no reason that the executive branch that controls that list can't just remove it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I'm sure at one point I had this information. At this point, I do not.
Yeah. I'm sure, during the beginning of the podcast when we were all super advocates, I bet you we would have pulled that out. But at this point, I'd have to look. But I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, there's a lot of quote unquote laws that aren't passed via legislation. They're passed in, through committee into these executive agencies that just enact the regulations or something.
Yeah.
So I'd be curious. I'm gonna have to do a little research on that this week because more and more states are jumping on board, man. I feel like the clock is ticking. It's a matter of time.
Yeah, because that's what I was going to ask you, was what you felt like the likelihood of decriminalization or legalization was during the Biden administration. But I personally would have a hard time answering that question, like I said, without knowing what the process was. Because I don't know, I just saw an article that headlined about it today, about the different ideologies in the White House about decriminalization and legalization. I didn't read it because I didn't give a fuck. I didn't think we'd be talking about this, or else I would have read it.
Right. That's the beauty of the doubleheader, bro. It's a wild card show.
Yeah. Right. So since we're doing this, we're not doing our serious topic. Let me talk to you about this Evergreen documentary. Right.
Please.
23 parts. Benjamin A.
23.
Boyd. 23 parts. And apparently, right, he says in the first episode that he did videos on the Evergreen thing for 2 years after it happened, and then made this documentary to kind of compile all that information into, one video series. And so he was going to Evergreen at the time that the Brett Weinstein or Brett Weinstein thing happened, and the day of absence, day of presence, all of that, all that happened. And so he graduated 2 weeks after the Weinstein. Weinstein.
I think it's Weinstein.
Weinstein.
Yeah. Brett Weinstein, Eric Weinstein, I believe.
Yes. So he graduated 2 weeks after that. And so this video series not only documents the protests, right, because most of them were live streamed, and so you could watch it, but he also was there for most of the meetings that happened, the orientation, those things, the sit-ins, so he took a bunch of that footage himself.
Wow.
So he not only goes over the protest, but then goes over the teachers, faculty, the administrators, and how they effectively taught these students this behavior, and then it immediately turned around and ate them because of the way that they had taught it. It was eye-opening, you know what I'm saying? We've talked about it extensively, so I had a pretty decent knowledge of the events, but the extensive documentation, it was incredible. I would recommend it to anybody. Yeah.
And can I say thank God that somebody actually did that? Because so many of these these cancelization type, wokeness gone awry, that turns into something violent like that. They're so kind of in our current news atmosphere, they come and they go because tomorrow something else will be the new thing, and they're without a long period of time to examine what truly happened. It's bound to happen again because we're not going to learn our lessons.
And the way that it was broken down, especially watching it after 2020, you could see how this event just proceeded, was a microcosm of everything, so many things to come after it, So many discussions that you saw, especially during all these protests, just people screaming, no clear conversations happening, incoherent, illogical discussions, things that didn't make any sense, This whole thing didn't make any sense. Everything happening. None of the conversations made any sense. None of the logic, nothing. None of it made any sense at all. But it was so off the handles that it was just going. And the people who at the head of it had no idea how to control or rein in what they had done because for some reason they were unable to foresee what was going to happen. And it's concerning.
That these are people that run schools and they didn't see that coming.
And
that's scary.
It also highlights the different ways that the principal or the dean or the provost or whatever it is at that college would say one thing in the room with the protesters and then go on TV and just straight lie about what he had said and be like, oh no, it's not violent. It's like no problems at all. Like all this is
Mostly
happening.
peaceful.
It was dark. And then to see how
and that was the precursor, man.
And to see how this also resulted in like the Equity Council of Washington State, you know what I'm saying? And there's a bunch of clips broken in there. They're talking about, you know, racism being inherently tied to whiteness and like all this. It was dark. It is dark. Especially we live here, you know, so to see it happening and it's like being broadcast. These are clips from WTV. If you're home during the day, you can watch this on fucking TV, and we don't know because we have fucking jobs. We have jobs, and this is happening literally right in front of us, and we don't know about it. Because we don't have the time to moderate a fucking equity council that's happening in Olympia somewhere between fucking 9 people that no one's ever heard of. Like, it's, and those people are constructing policy that will be used to frame all of the policy in this state, from education to, I mean, every, you know, the way the corporations need to work themselves, the way that different state agencies have to operate themselves, the type of training that they have to have, all of this is going to come from this equity council that we have no fucking idea what's happening because we don't see it.
Yep. And if that's not just a microcosm for what's wrong with all of our governments, I don't know how clear a picture you can paint after that, because I mean, that's just the story of how government works these days. Policy is crafted behind closed doors in committee, half the time with unelected bureaucrats that just get to decide how we, the citizens of the state or the country, are going to be forced to live our lives. Well, and that is just wild.
It's almost like I said, because like these are TV clips, and so it's almost like forced blinders. You know what I'm saying? Like they're putting blinders on us. Like, no, just keep working. Like, just stay hustling. Like, you pay your bills, pay your mortgage. Like, we're gonna stay over here, just right to your side. You could watch it on TV. If you turned your head, you could see it, but you can't. You got to be focused on what's in front of you because you got these fucking blinders on. It's horrible.
Oh, it's horrible. Man. It's scary. And I had a good segue for another thing I just saw this week, and I totally forgot it. Something about reopenings and COVID in the state had something to do with that. It might come to me. I did see that the IRS is thinking about pushing the tax deadline back again this year.
They did. May 15th.
They did. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
I was going to say, they pushed it back last year because of the pandemic. And I didn't realize that we were out of the pandemic, and it's not going to affect taxes this year, but at least we got a month stay. And I don't know what the deal is, but my accountant he's lagging on some of our paperwork, so I can't even do my taxes yet, and it's getting close, bro. I'm getting nervous.
All right, you got time.
We got time.
Yeah. Speaking of time, how long have we been doing this? Do you have a counter on here? I can never see the time.
I don't.
I think we were going about now.
Yeah, it's about 9:20 right now. We kicked off at 8:30, so.
Of course.
That hour goes. When you're conditioned to do a 3-hour podcast, an hour is like, well, we didn't even have any time to talk about anything.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I do video games because we were talking about video games earlier. Dax has been into Injustice lately. Did I tell you this?
Yeah.
That's been playing Injustice, and now he's into Black Panther. Bought him a Black Panther action figure last weekend, and we waited like 3 days to give it to him. And then Jordan came up on the counter to help her make something, and he found it, freaked the fuck out, and he's been all over it ever since.
Nice.
Video game that had Black Panther in it, so I downloaded an Avengers video game. Fucking, I think it's just called Marvel's Avengers. $60. $60. Yeah.
Is that the one like you get to pick which character you play? You can play as basically any of them.
So it switches around. Like you play as different characters throughout their story, you know. And so
that's cool.
The opening scene, like the opening 5 or 10 minutes, you play as like the main 5 core Avengers, and it's like 5 or 10 minutes a piece, just fucking shit up, just destroying people,
just breaking the world.
Yeah, and then you get into the actual story, and so you switch between like Hulk and it's like Miss Marvel and like all these different characters. So
that's dope.
I'm a big
Yo, you gonna be watching that Zack Snyder cut of Justice League? Apparently
Okay.
it's 4 hours.
So I had to upgrade my cell phone plan because my new double phone is 5G.
Oh,
And
word.
so not only is my mind going to get warped and I'm going to be, a government shill, but
Right.
also I have HBO Max for free because I had to upgrade my plans. So I get to watch that. so I
Sick.
haven't watched it yet. I was literally going to go on Twitter this morning. I was on Twitter. I'm like, I'm just going to tweet out and like ask if it's worth it for me to get HBO Max to watch the Snyder Cut, because I rewatched the Justice League maybe like 2 months ago,
Mhm.
and I was like, this movie is shit. Like, this movie is absolute shit. It's horrible. And
I don't
so
think I've seen it. I don't think I even saw it when it came out.
I watched Batman versus Superman, which I think is that the Dawn of the Justice League? Yeah. I don't, who fucking knows? They're horrible. They're both horrible.
They're both horrible.
Yeah. No, it's not good. So, yeah, no, they're two different movies, because that's Batman versus Superman has Doomsday in it, and then Dawn of the Justice League actually has Aquaman and like the Flash.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse Eisenberg is Batman versus Superman.
Okay. I think
Yeah.
DC needs to hurry up and sell out to Disney so that they can get their quality up, because I would love to see some good DC movies, man. I didn't know you could do this, but I Googled how to find my Amazon Prime watch history, right?
Oh.
And so I'm going through and you could see the weekends compared to the weekdays. And apparently I have a John Wayne problem, but I did watch The Dark Knight last weekend on Sunday.
Great.
And I forgot how amazing that movie is, man. Heath Ledger, bro. I mean, the new Joker with, what's his name? Guy who looks at what's his
Jared
name?
Leto.
Jared Leto. He's good, enough, but nobody, compared to Heath Ledger, nobody can play the Joker. Okay, it was so good.
Yeah, well, I feel like unfortunately because Jared Leto had to follow Heath Ledger, he looks even worse.
You can't. Yeah, that's coming up. Like your stand-up comedian coming up after Joe Rogan after he kills, and then you got to be like, "Oh, hey guys, funny jokes and things." It ain't gonna turn out well for you.
Well, and then Joaquin Phoenix was just the Joker in the Joker movie. Remember? Have you seen that one?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, Colin, you got to watch that one. That one was amazing.
I feel like I need to be in a good headspace to watch that, because I hear it's a really dark movie.
It was dark.
And, right now, I don't know if I want to watch that. You know what I mean? I watched Braveheart last night because I don't know if I told you. What?
Should we just end the stream right now?
we need to end the stream right now, and you need to go watch that movie because it is an amazing. I discovered, just real quick before we wrap up, I logged back into my Ancestry DNA results. Yes. Because over time they get a little bit more refined and all that, and it's been a couple of years. And I went on because it was St. Patrick's Day, and I was like, I knew I'm a little bit Irish. Turns out I'm only 2% Irish, but I'm 20% Scottish, bro. I'm Scottish. I'm a Scottishman. And so I felt like I was obligated to watch the classic tale of William Wallace again, as portrayed by the great and powerful Mel Gibson. That movie is still fantastic. And I believe it's on Netflix or Amazon Prime. It's on one of the streaming things. So do yourself a favor. It is phenomenal. Check that movie out.
Word.
Yeah. Word.
It is about time for us to get out of here. Unless you have anything else that you would like to add into this.
Nope. I think that's good.
Word. Well, if it's cool with you, then I only say that Dax is still awake. Man. And I think that I'm just keeping him up just because he's hearing me. But because the TV's not on or anything, doesn't matter. This is totally.
Dad's awake. I'm not going to sleep yet.
Yeah, he's got to figure it out. So, with that, I want to obviously thank everybody who joined us here on our Instagram, Salted Streets. We have our YouTube, Salted Streets, our Facebook, Salted Streets. Fuck Facebook. You can find all this saltofthestreets.com. We have our personal social media. I'm at Salt of the Street on Twitter and at alpaca_Donovan on Instagram. Colin is at Big Bird Offie on both those things. I don't know that we ever introduced ourselves, but I am Donovan.
Okay. I'm Colin.
Colin right here. Tune in next Saturday, a week from today, noon 30 on our YouTube, Salt of the Streets. We are going to do the pre-show, noon. It's going to be great. And then we'll continue with full-on episode, 105 this week? It's going to be fantastic. So full-on episode 105, full live stream YouTube. Sounds like we're going to be talking about the shootings in Atlanta. Excuse me, we had talked about, if nothing else major comes up, that it sounds like we'll be discussing a little bit of immigration and potentially policy and maybe some ideas. And then we're going to be talking about education and the unions, the education, the teachers' unions.
That's my shit.
It's going to be fantastic. So, again, thank you, everybody.
So be there or be square.
Be there or be motherfucking square. We will see you next Saturday. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.